Alright, and welcome back. Continuing on with the tailcone construction. Working on getting all the parts prepared. There's a whole bunch of them that you start out with, including the two that I just set down there. Those are actually the pieces that hold the horizontal stabilizer in place, and they are pretty thick pieces of aluminum, and from the stamping process they get bowed, so you have to put them in a vise and preload the metal and then hit it with a rubber mallet and basically just to bend it back so that they're straight. That's just one of the preparation steps that you have. Here I'm working on some of the longerons for I believe these are the bottom of the bottom skin longerons, and I think that's how you pronounce that. Anyway, it has you cut off a little bit, a small tab on one side of it, and then go through the normal process of deburring everything. But that's generally what the first several steps of Section 10 is. Basically just getting all of these pieces ready, including cutting some longer pieces into sections and then making those individual pieces, or in the case of those two support pieces for the horizontal stabilizer, just straighten them back out from the press process when they stamp them. So there's a bunch of little things like that, and so that's what I'm doing here, is going through and just getting all of these pieces ready and then primered, and then start putting everything together. So it's a long, tedious process, and this is about 2 hours worth of video edited down to about 9 minutes or so. Like I said, I try to keep these videos less than 10 minutes. Most people don't watch more than a minute or two anyway, but for those who have an interest in this, I like to show, at least as best I can without making the videos too long, I like to show the majority of the steps that I do. So I try not to edit out too much, but I also speed it up just so these aren't just drastically long, boring videos. So bear with me. Other than that, like I said, just getting these pieces ready. And today I actually went to work on my other airplane. I have a 64 Piper Cherokee 235 that we purchased last year, and it's been a fun airplane. I've taken it from here in Phoenix to Eugene, Oregon. That's about the longest flight that I've had so far. I've probably put about 75 hours on the plane, 50 to 75 hours on the plane since I've owned it, and I've only had it for about 6 months. So I've been doing a good amount of flying. And so earlier today I decided that I was gonna try to do some work on it. I'm in the middle of an avionics class, and today's experience has taught me that although it'll be nice to have the experience and knowledge of avionics and what the course will enable me to do, in that I'll be able to repair avionics. I'll have, by the time I'm done with my avionics course, I'll have my FCC license and be able to work on radios and avionics and things like that. But I don't have an A&P license, so there's only so much I can do. However, working with an A&P person, I'm able to climb in and under their supervision, work on some stuff on my airplane. And so today I have a Narco Nav 122 that came with the airplane when I bought it, but the previous owner had taken it out and sent it off to have the frequency knobs replaced because they're made out of nylon and they wore out and it's needed to be replaced. So I got that back in the mail, and it's been sitting in my shop now, or my garage now, for about 5 or 6 months, and I figured, let's go ahead and put that back in. So I got to experience what it's like for a 6'4", 220-pound man trying to crawl underneath the instrument panel of a Piper Cherokee. And I'll tell you, it's not a whole lot of fun. It's a very cramped space, and like I said, I'm not interested in getting into an avionics career. I just am trying to find out, get some knowledge about what I'm doing so that it'll help me during the building process of this RV-14. And so it's interesting, but today's lesson reminded me why I would not want to do that as a career. Anyway, so for those of you that do in fact play with avionics and crawl in cockpits and get behind instrument panels, I have a lot of respect for you. So anyway, so back to this. Like I said, doing a lot of prep work. This is just deburring the edges of these pieces here, and these, I believe, these are the side supports of the tailcone. But just going through and making sure that there's no sharp edges, and also, if you run your finger down the edges of these pieces, you'll feel a nudge, a little knob or a bump every so often. I think that they probably cut these in stages. I don't think it's one sheer piece, or if it is, it just has maybe a gap or something. Anyway, there's a little bit of a bump every so often along these lines, and so you want to get rid of that and try to smooth it out. And some people call it the cut test, the blood test, the whatever you want to call it. You just run your finger over it, make sure it's nice and smooth and it's not going to cut you. That's when you know it's good to go. Again, my understanding is that any straight edges that are sharp, especially in any kind of hole, due to the vibration of the airplane over time, could lead to stress cracking, and so you want to try to minimize that. And so that's where all of the deburring and things like that comes into play. So make sure that you're taking it seriously and not cutting those corners, even though you'll be tempted, I promise. But anyway, so getting through this, here I'm actually working on one of the smaller corner pieces, the angle pieces, and there's two of them that you have to work on. One is I think one makes the rudder stops on either side, and I don't recall what the first one is. The one I'm working on or about to work on here. But you cut out a few angles out of each piece. This one that I'm working on here, it stays as one piece, but you end up cutting out a section of the top. And to do all the measuring, I used a digital caliper. If you don't have a set of digital calipers and a digital protractor, I would highly recommend it. It makes it so much easier. It's a lot easier to make the exact measurements and dimensions and angles that the plans call for by using that. So anyway, I'm going to let this video run out here, and the next couple videos will be starting to put the frames together and starting to look like a piece, a real piece of an aircraft. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.